acting up, acting that way out of pocket. For the grind, for the hustle, I can't knock it. Do what it take, do what you do, you could try. Yeah. I've been up, I've been stuck up in the sky. Yeah. Throw me at the top, I can't lie. Haters watch it, throw the piece, tell them bye, 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 bye. I got things to do, I got bands to get. Competition up in smoke, ooh, cannabis. Ask me why I'm a top 10 candidate. I'm so fly, I'm so clean, ooh, and I'm rich. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the numbers, I'm running it up. I got plenty bands, I'm thumbing it, yeah. Tell them move, get up out the way. It's ludicrous, yeah, how much I'm getting paid. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10K. No mob ties, but a player being made. Now how you spoke to your girl, better check her phone. And do you know what she doing when you not at home? And when she tell you she alone, but she not alone. She got a lot of options, eeny, miny, mo. She gon' do what she want, ain't no stopping it all. Pour the liquor in the cup, yeah, I'm topping it off. I might take your girl, take a trip to the mall. Put the shelf in the bag, yeah, cause I'm copping it all. I'm saying, they can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the numbers, I'm running it up. I got plenty bands, I'm thumbing it, yeah. They can't stop the kid, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, that's fact. They can't stop the kid, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop the kid, they can't stop it.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, this a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, this a promise and a threat. I ain't never really wanna flex my gifts, but I think it's my time, let me check my wrist. You can never dim my shine, I'ma keep on grinding till I reach the top. When it's just in my jeans and I ain't looking back, cause I'm feeling like Chris Cross. They can never slow me down, but they need to hate me, now I'm feeling like Chris. Rock with the team, cause you know that we winning, we with it, we going, we flowing again. I might just go by a Benz, I might just blow my advance, whoa. I did it all for the feeling, alive but I'm making a killing. I'm gonna break every ceiling, cause I need a million, but I don't need your money, you can pay me in respect. Cause once I do it big, what's to follow is a check. I need 100 bags, nothing more, nothing less. And the ops feel away, cause I'm next, I'm a threat. Oh yeah. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet.
Hey, we're gearing up. Y'all get ready. Got another match coming up. Colony of Gamers versus Atlantis Esports tonight. Hang tight. We're loading up pretty soon.
Flow so sick it's hazardous. Y'all still suck like Dracula. Zip this beat, let's back it up. And I don't care about critics cause they talk too much. And I know that I gotta keep on grinding, finding myself. I ain't gonna stop until I know I had enough. Mama, I made it, I know that they see me. I'm popping these bottles just like I'm a genie. I'm glad that you made me. It's all in my DNA. I'm about my chips like I'm working for Frito-Lay. And bet it bag on myself. bustin', don't really care what it cost them, you don't wanna cost them. My lifestyle awesome, couldn't decide if my gal wanted to, so I bought them. Don't run track, but I run up a check. Run, do it real big, gotta one up the next. Point to the sky with the one up, I'm blessed. I'm young, rich and black, so you know I'm a threat.
Heavens to Megatron, the other.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the second game of this fantastic doubleheader. I think we've had a decent doubleheader for a while, but I tell you what, we had a great match to start things off. But how about another banger? It's Colony of Gamers versus Atlantis Esports. And of course, I'm joined by my magnificent Puerto Rican friend, the gentleman with the greatest stash in the entire nation. Of course, it's that great William. Delgato Scabby.
Wow, what are you gonna leak next, Hyper? My social security number and my credit card info? I am ready to be going into game number 2, Colony of Gamers versus Atlantis Esports, two teams that you and I are far too familiar with. The maps have been decided. Let's go ahead and take a look at those babies before we kick things off. Hacienda Hardpoint leading the charge for tonight's matchup. Then Double Vault, a red card, oddly enough, ending things off if we get there to a search and destroy on Hacienda. But first, that Hacienda Hardpoint Hyper, it's popular in the COD mobile scene. It's popular in the current BO6 scene. What are we thinking?
I like it. I think it's great. I think we should have it, you know, for the rest of time, because Hacienda is a beautiful map that it is. I know that it's not going to be fully everyone's choice, but if the thieves love it, I love it. That's all we need to say here, and I ain't going to back down on that statement.
Yeah, well, I'm sure people aren't disagreeing with it. The reason why it's the first map, it hasn't been vetoed by either of the teams, right? So it's going to be a map number one where those AMESs are going to be the most prevalent, especially off that P1 fountain rotation. You're going to see them shooting at each other, playing trades like tic-tac-toe from those top windows. One gets a kill, the other one gets a kill. It's just going to be a constant rotation back and forth. Bodies will drop, and that fountain, I mean, if it was realistic Hyper, it'd be turning, the water would turn red. Like that's how bloody that P1 can be. Jackal players or the SMG players are going to be the ones that are actually putting the points on the board, while again those SMG or those AR players are going to be watching over them, watching their backs, and making sure that they can get that much needed hill time.
Talking of Jackals, if I am not mistaken by our fabulous producer, they have been GA'd. It's been in conversation for a little while now, but Jackals are being GA'd for what should have been the last match and for this one as well. So we're not seeing them anymore, so a new breath of SMGs can start to come out. Of course, we had the beautiful... for the life of me, I'm trying to remember it. It's not the Tommy...
PPSH.
PPSH, yeah, thank you. I knew it was PP something, but I was thinking Bison. But yeah, the PPSH being something that's on the table, I don't think it's viable enough. But there is one other, a CM something, being the alternative SMG. Very, very similar look to the Jackal itself.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think it's a little later in the league to have that GA. I mean, we don't know though. I mean, there could have been a buff update, or there could have been something that happened, and a complete exposure of the Jackal just being overpowered. And as an AMES player myself, when I'm playing ranked, right, at the end of the day, I don't tend to use the Jackal all too much, but I do tend to leave myself wondering how on earth am I getting killed like almost cross map with a Jackal and held in hand. So I think there. It scared me. The notification scared me. Sorry about that. I think there is some justification behind having the Jackal of GA, and of course we will still see the AMES pulled out throughout the game. And you know, going back to the last series, Rally Rollers, if you're just joining us right now, did sweep Cabal Prime 3-0 and one of the maps on Hacienda was a control, and that was a nail biter. That was incredible gameplay from both sides. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Elite Series for the Zoned Out Gaming League, which means the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the best teams out there are going to be fighting in tonight's matches. So I can't wait to see it on Hardpoint, especially specifically from that P1 to P2 rotation. That's where things start to get crazy. That's where we start to see some of the good players separate themselves from the best players. And that's where we get to see a lot of those comms, a lot of that mental capacity, and ultimately a lot of those gunnies come into play.
Yeah, it really is where we're going to see the most and the best and the worst of it all. But let's quickly remind ourselves, it's been a hot minute, let's quickly remind ourselves what we have after Hacienda. We've been talking so much. It, of course, will be 2 vaults coming into play. Again, hit and miss on the search and destroy vault. I'm 1 against it. Some people are 4. Control being such a classic, like Control and Vault is like bread and butter. It goes together.
Oh gosh,
it's so good of a map. And then of course Red Card as a hard point, and a controversial. Not everyone likes. But
I know.
I think it works.
Yeah, I think it. I'm not a fan of it. I feel like it's very one-sided. It feels really like it doesn't feel very fluid. It doesn't feel as open. It feels, again, very one-sided. Like, literally half the map is completely inside. The other half is, like, pushed all the way to the outside. I don't know. It just feels really awkward to play on. If I do say so myself, I do love the idea that we're going to be going into a vault control, because I feel you can breathe a little bit more. I feel like you have the opportunity to really kick into four-wheel drive in terms of strategy and whatnot. But there's one thing that's for sure, Hyper, that I noticed specifically with Vault that tends to be a problem for a lot of teams, especially in a mode like Control, the spawn traps. Those spawn traps are incredibly common to see, unfortunately, just by the nature of how Control works, not even reflecting on poorly on Vault. So if you're on the offensive team, you just got to make sure you escape those spawn traps, regardless of which team you are, Colony of Gamers or Atlantis. It could happen to either one of them. So if you know spawns, it's great to use on defense, and great to defend yourself from on offense. But enough of the talking, enough of the back and forth. Hyper, map number 1. 2 legends in the Elite Series for ZGL battling it out. P1 is for the taken. Off to the races these fine gentlemen go.
Yeah, and off to the races they shall, as Atlantis will not get that first blood. The Colony of Gamers getting it kicked off. The Atlantis quickly kicking it back and getting forward. The feed, all 4 off. Good night, sweet moon. Great control onto that first point, and in doing so, able to start to get that north side control, because of if you put yourself north right, that is where P2 is, and that's the most important.
Folks doing a fantastic job immediately pushing himself into the spawns of Colony of Gamers, because he knew what was up. He knew how spawns were going to be moving from that point and forward, and denying any more reinforcements to arrive onto that point. So eventually, yeah, their shots aren't going to hit after quite some time. Colony of Gamers winning the last 5 seconds of scraps. P2 Hill was originally for the taking for Colony of Gamers, but Atlantis had something to say about that. So it's pretty even right now. It can go any way, but as spawns are favoring Atlantis Esports, it is getting the first kill to get things started. It's looking like it could be a great hold for Atlantis.
It would be a good hold if they can just keep an eye out. But Penguin, 5 spree on his side, feeling confident, feeling good, and getting himself so close to the Hellstorm early in this game. That's dangerous to have in your back pocket of this map, but no, taken away as Atlantis, the land, the sea, whatever you find, it's what all men are searching for. Well, they're searching for this hard point indeed.
What was originally a perfect pin from Colony of Gamers, and unfortunately Atlantis fall, unfortunately, wasn't able to amount to all of the hill time. So now it's going to be vacated. Cam now this time taking the rest of scraps to his name. It's going to be 1v1 here between Garwig and Diz, and unfortunately for Diz, he won't win the initial kill on the new hill. It'll be Garwig, so lovely job at doing that. And he's playing wise right now, Hyper, not, jumping on the point immediately and making his presence known. Just kind of sitting back, relaxing a little bit, but also spraying here and there, giving those call-ups when they need to. So once those reinforcements do arrive, it is good for Colony of Gamers.
It would be good, but unfortunately it just seems as they able to find their way onto point all in front of the Gamers. And this Colony good little break to push forward, but spraying from far, can't seem to get much of the kills, but I tell you what, his teammate is, but the push in from Atlantis is still gonna keep the denial coming in as Cam. Oh, that's a last bullet savior that kept him alive in the final few seconds, helped massively.
Yeah, but I don't think the spawns were read properly there, Hyper. Atlantis completely had their back on the Colony of Gamers and read those spawns incorrectly, and as a result, they will eat up this hill completely, slaying, getting that nice wall bang as well, the cherry on top for what is a lovely setup over to the new point. Atlantis sort of complacent here, not knowing what they can do, waiting for those spawns to go through. And meanwhile, Colony using this opportunity to regroup and refocus. But Hyper, the teammate, certainly won't help this case. And to make up for it, you're going to need to get a 2-piece. Garwig's not able to do it. Slaying will. And now single person 1v1 on the objective. Won't be able to do anything either for Atlantis Esports. They're throwing single bodies at a time on the objective. And Colony of Gamers, what a valiant hold so far.
It's been decent, but it's just force after force after force from Atlantis, and finally a break that is working. Gunny pushes in, can't seem to find anything, and there's the hold. Final 20 seconds has gone in favor of Atlantis. but it's been taken away. Final scraps. Jesus Christ, Colony just does not give in. And of no surprise that they're going for scraps here. It's great positioning to put themselves up to that upper balcony onto P1. 3 taken away, and this is a bloodbath between both sides.
Yeah, there's only so much positioning advantage you can get there before completely getting shot in the back by Atlantis, and now here it is. Jackal sitting on the objective there, holding hill time, not able to do much though from the protection, without the protection of those AMSs, and that's Slang, getting into ready position, watching the 2 top windows. Water is settling for a little bit. Penguin and Gerwig seeking out, sniffing out Atlantis and catching them on a flank as well. Make it 3 for Penguin. And now back to the respawn screens they go. The last alive on this full rotation is Cam, and he's going to be wise enough to not do much and just wait for movement to be evident for that rotation for Colony of Gamers to be sniffed out. And now P2, Atlantis have the rotation, they have the setup, but Penguin again keeps on trying.
Penguin's back up to that 5 streak like he did on that P1 previously, a deja vu scenario. Gunny trying to peek up, jumps out, no free pick, says thank you very much, 2 for him, and says this is how we're pushing, we're using the water. Penguin up to 6 kills,
God.
finally gets taken out by his own teammate. It takes an own force to destroy yourself, and wow, Colony of Gamers have stepped up, and finally the lead is theirs.
I mean, this is the point with their life, like their life depends on it, and they've done a lovely job at that, like you said earlier, Hyper, and even Penguin is getting a little aggressive here. It was able to pay off because now Spoke's been relieved of his pressure that he's putting onto those scraps. Yes, it will go to Atlantis, but like you said earlier, Hyper, Colony with a admirable hole on the objective. Now the new one has opened up. P3, no real evidence of dominance quite yet. But take a look at Gunny, funneling through from behind, finds one, and is able to get the second. Talk about trigger discipline, brother.
That is beautiful trigger discipline. I love to see it. Now Dustin using the outside of the map. It goes from one feed to another. It was Colony of Gamers. Now it's back to Atlantis. Holy mackerel, Scav. This game's only halfway through. And I still couldn't tell who is going to win this. It's too even from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, they're both at that level of competitive integrity now where it's not even about errors. It's about who hits their shots and who doesn't at this point. I mean, they're both hitting their shots and doing it well. They're both answering calls to action. And just like that, though, Hyper again, Colony complete squad wipe from Atlantis. Now the new hill has opened up. Spokes trying to stop any more of the pressure being applied here on this new hill. Right across over at that statue. And he's able to do it and do it well. Paying off. Spokes he's not getting the hill time, he's getting the kills. And you love to see him anchoring with that aim as Atlantis prepares their setup on this point.
Atlantis looking to take the lead back from Colony of Gamers as they will successfully do so. Colony of Gamers able to make a pitch, but denied. The pitch is denied. Oh, how are they keeping this alive?
It's not even denied, Hyper. It's utterly met with a stone wall of a respawn that all 4 of Colony have to see. You can see they're starting to feel it right now. Spokes and Cam get 2. Completely denying anyone else from even breathing on the objective. That's a 6 spree for Kim, like lining them up like dominoes and knocking them over with his aim and make that another one within 15 seconds of that hill. Back to P1 we go, and that was admirable for Atlantis because now they've got some good padding of just under 30 seconds, half a hill. P1 not for the taking quite yet. But Atlantis Esports, they're taking all the kills and they're waiting for that perfect moment.
Put it in a present, wrap it up, and give it to your opponent is what Atlantis is trying to do. They have that upper left, right side control. It's going to be a bit harder for Colony of Gamers to try and push the Cloak, someone who can anchor on point, just sitting, waiting for his next prey to trickle in. Colony of Gamers, they're going to sacrifice this, well, the rotation control and go for the point. get a couple of ticks in their favor, and then Slug slowly force that rotation through. But you have Cam waiting patiently, finds the second, says thank you very much, and that's going to be rotation successful for Atlantis this time.
Yeah, that's huge, Hyper, and he's also got over 2 KD to his name, and he just keeps on going, chugging along, grabbing these kills like he's in a pubs match. I was gonna say earlier, it was a very disappointing rotation to P2 from Atlantis, and I really thought that would be it for King. He's gonna get hit from Colony, but he did the dirty deed. And my goodness, didn't you learn, Colony? Don't line up, because Diz will give you more than a haircut. He'll completely knock you off and not even let you step an inch closer. The time is running out, Hyper. Things are getting tense. Colony of Gamers from a position of having a lead is now staring down the barrel of a map 1 loss as 10 seconds is going.
It's just going to be more in the feed. Folks, 2, 3, 5 to his day. He just keeps on frying Spokes, finishes it up, and holy mackerel, when you need people to step up, it's Atlantis who will do it. Cam and Spokes, they came and brought their A game.
Oh yeah, beautiful job. I mean, like clockwork, Hyper. Textbook right here, and especially we don't even need to say much at all. Just a moment of silence for all of the players over at Legion of Gamers, or Colony of Gamers, excuse me, for this final kill cam. Wow. 34 and 16 for Cam. Unbelievable performance from this man, over 2 KD, and you look at across the line, he's not the only one popping off. You got Spokes as well, 29 and 17. But I'll tell you what, Hyper, Dustin and Diz might not have replicated the same deal, but they both had over a minute of hill time as well. So they're doing their jobs and they're doing it well. A statement has been made, and has been made with an exclamation point by Atlantis.
Oh, an exclamation point, and then of course the opposite way if you do it in Spanish as well. Like, just have a load of those all in one place. Just absolute raw at that final rotation. That third rotation is really where these stars come alive. We started to just see how Atlantis took that control and ripped it away, all hopes and dreams from the Colony of Gamers, and in doing so, Colony of Gamers actually crumbled at that point. I'm gonna sneeze, so give me a second.
Yeah, Colony of Gamers, unfortunately, got completely pieced up there, and you could tell, Hyper, that they did lose all, right? They did start to crumble, especially after they got dominoed, not once, but twice from that P4 and from that P2. I mean, it was like a well-oiled Atlantis machine going against, I mean, a breaking down, a fragile colony of gamers, and at the end of the day, that's just what it was. It was mistakes piling up on mistakes and errors, and we've said it before, and I'll say it again. COD at the end of the day is 20% mechanical, 80% mental, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was what was shown tonight. Because it's not like we didn't see any kills. It's not like we saw, you know, only one-sided Penguin popping off on the opposite side. But yeah, like you said earlier, Hyper, at the end of the day, they're hitting their shots. They're Atlantis. And whether or not, if they'll continue to do it as we move on over to map number 2, will be the question that we ask. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, grab some popcorn, you know, grab a drink or two, because we are going to be taking a very short break.
5, 6, 7, 8 for the other.
Can't do that, Hyper. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a short break that felt like an eternity because Hyper, we are so excited to be going into map number 2 with Atlantis Esports coming out on top. Map number 1 on Hacienda, making a bold statement, especially. Now, the ball is in Colony of Gamers court as we explore a control on Vault.
Hello, Torturous. Pop it up on the stream as well. Yeah, it's going to be quite a difficult situation for Colony of Gamers. You're down on the lives. Things are not looking all too great for you. But this is the but situation.
Oh, God.
You do have some big plays that could come out here. You got Penguin, you got Slag, you got Gunny. You could come out and have some fun, but it seems to be still some lobby issues. So we've got a bit more time to discuss this. Those guys on Colony of Gamers really came alive on those individual plays. When they were left alone, they were able to produce the 2-3 pieces that critically turned the events to give them those breaks. So that's something they've got to capitalize on.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more, Hyper. That is something that needs to capitalize on. And we just had a little bit of a break because it seems like a setting was enabled. Pings were on, so players were able to see exactly where each other were on the red dot in the mini map. So that would have not been good, especially for search and destroy. I'll correct myself. I did say control. It will be a control vault regardless that we go to on map number 3. But first, let's take a step back. We're going to be moving into a much slower game mode than control. It's going to be a search and destroy. And for Atlantis, I mean, going into this, guns ablazing with all the energy carried over from map number 1, leads me to believe that Colony of Gamers should be taking this one a lot more slower, a lot more for the picks, and a lot more calculated. It's sometimes taking those risks, but only pouncing when it makes sense to make those risks and you can afford the outcome at the end of the day. And sometimes that might look like just one random round, you flip a coin, you go B instead of A. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's one thing that's for sure. Colony of Gamers is still into the series, and they can start by getting those crucial early picks.
Yeah, 100% can, and you've got to be confident. You've got to be the right mindset, and we say it time and time again. 20% skill, 80% mindset is the way to go forward. And right now, Bomb going aggressively underneath. Might be able to see the first B plant we see for a half minute as well. Bomb is going down B. To be or not to be, it shall be.
Nobody's home. A completely free plant from Atlantis will lead things to be in their favor, but from behind, Gunny just sort of reaching through. You got Big Penguin working out as well. Cam, I'm not sure why Gunny came out of vault there because that, unfortunately, was met with a death. And now Penguin will unfortunately suffer the same fate from behind. Atlantis Esports will push on through and get a round number 1 victory.
Love the fact they had that information on that north side to say, hey, there's not much activity here. And if there was, if I remember rightly, there was one person able to take him out, and that changed the strategy quickly because they predicted everyone was down south, everyone was towards that A. Take that quick short route through the vault, and a free bomb plant coming in with no one home is the easiest way to play. Hats off to Atlantis because they nailed that perfectly.
Well, the ball is in their court now. Again, for Gamers, if they opt for the same strategy, they will kind of idle a little bit over to A. Obviously, naturally the safest spot. Slang getting the first one. Cam getting the second on Slang, so there's a trade. And now you see Atlantis. They know what's going on. They're with the presence of Colony. And aggressive bids will pay off at the end of the day, but Cam won't. And so now a 2v2 situation, much similar to our last round.
Very similar, but Bomb's not down. And now you got players from Atlantis covering that A side and now denying that rotation. Spokes. That's great information. Bomb's down.
Yeah.
And if you're Garwin, this is horrible. It's left in the open, both channels to get the bomb is covered. There's a cross-up fire coming in, so no matter if one gets picked off, the second will have another angle. And it's not gonna come from Garwing as he gets one. The trade wasn't able to come through, so there is hope after all.
Yeah, but Diz waiting on the other side of that bomb will unfortunately put him to rest. And Atlantis Esports stumbling a little bit there, but still able to run away with that round number 2 victory. And you gotta love Diz's patience too, 4-0 to his name, just sitting there waiting, anticipating for Garway to go pick up bomb. Great communication on both sides too. I mean, God, Hyper, you have no idea how many times a teammate I'll play with won't call out bomb being dropped and everyone just being confused as to where bomb is, whether or not the last alive has bomb and whatnot. So he definitely was aware of it, and he knew one way or another Garwig was going to have to expose himself there to get bomb, and took complete advantage of it, winning Atlantis Esports their second one in a row.
It's a dream to have bomb on the floor. It just makes that life a little bit easier, but an unusual strategy. Let's go and attack mid with the bomb as Dustin will find the first. This has granted a lot of open opportunity, and once again, this bomb's going B. Atlantis pulling out the B strat for the second time and playing the risk, and is paying off for it.
B is not only just for the B pump, Penguin for a second there. Oh, just, gosh, escaping there from the hair, or from the skin on his teeth. And Selene will find one as well to even things out. Hyper, the bomb has not been planted. It's actually been dropped on the objectives, folks. Sniffing out Penguin mid-rotation as well. Selene working the route himself. Way far back. That would have been really nice if he got that kill, because now he's exposed and didn't even get anything for it. But I'll tell you what, Hyper, there's a reason why the B-bomb is, B is for ballsy. I mean, it is risky to plant there, but if you can do it, you'll end up winning the round.
Tell you what, I love that post plant position. You had 3, which was both City over inside of the, just on the outside of the vault, and now look what he's done. He's dropped back to create this really difficult choke point that's around the side. No matter where you look, there's no room for a colony of gamers. There's room for one, and that is met by a few flying bullets. Brilliant post-plant positioning, done perfectly when you are in that 1v3 to not allow any dream plays to come alive.
Well, 3-0 right now in this vault, and now is when you got to start to reflect a little bit if you're a colony of gamers on what to do next. What isn't working, and whatever it is, you gotta grab it and step on it and completely kill it. Whatever's not working right now, and get something that does. Because before you know it, it'll be 3 more, and then next thing you know, a sweep on Surge is the last thing you want to see. Aggressive will be Penguin, and he is rewarded for, rightfully so. Garwig found by Dustin as well. The RCXD will fly through. Penguin seeks it out, and they're like, oh, hello, goodbye.
Free kill off it as well. The commonplace where you sit to use your RCXD. So yeah, free kill, take that. 2v3 in favor of Colony of Gaming. But more importantly, the bomb is still dropped in a pretty awkward position. I believe that is up on Cat and not down on Sight. So that has to be... No, I will be mistaken, as Big Penguin again will get another. That's 3 to his name, looking to get the ace to finish it off. Gets the sideline ace for himself. And Penguin, I said, was a guy you need to watch. He shows up, and he doesn't waddle.
Yeah, he showed up exactly. He did more than a waddle. I mean, he did the unbelievable. He flew quite literally from top hat there, Hyper, and completely changed the tone of that round by picking off the first Atlantis, dodging the RCXD, and finding the second that was lying prone. So yeah, you talk about an IGL, you talk about someone that changes the course of history, that lifts everybody up in the face of a 3-0 search. It's gonna be him.
Round number 5. Ongoing, standard, default, however you want to call it. It's going A. No fancy strats this time from Atlantis. Wanting to play this safe rather than sorry. It's going to be number 2 of Dustin. Able to find one's going to get immediately traded off, and in doing so, 2v2. And that presence from the colony of gaming going through mid and vault
Oh, here we go.
is not what has been successful. Slag prize one. There's the other. Job done. Colony of gamers. Oh, that's a pretty decent round.
Yeah, they've come back, and both of both kills that they just got were because Atlantis was turning their back on them. So COD Timing gets the best of not only one but two of the boys in red from Atlantis Esports. Now Colony of Gamers looking to go on a run themselves. 3 unanswered rounds. It could be just what they need to get themselves not only back on the map, but in the series.
Hey, if that's what they need to come back and bring this to a map 4 confirmed by winning this, hey, I'm going to say no to this. I'm going to love this all the way, but here we go. Another round, another bolt attempt to put the bomb down. Gunny does a quick check, make sure no one's pushing, and there is the hunt.
Another day, another plant on A. Now, water's beginning to settle. Not so much ingression as Atlantis. He's going for Cam. Oh my gosh! In the face of what was a disgusting borderline stair glitch, not quite, but still incredibly difficult to get. He still does. Garwig finding one in his own spawn as well. That's huge. Now you don't have someone lurking into your back spawn. Cam picking up the trade though as a result. Gunny finding Dustin. Cam's still alive though, and he's feeling mad right now. The madman himself will eventually meet his match. Gunny finding him. Coke trying to get that trade and not let his death go in vain, but it doesn't matter. 7.5 to defuse. Spokes is going to play his life. He doesn't even have a shoot either. Might as well at least get a kill. But he's not even able to do that. Can inconvene the Colony of Gamers as they themselves are going on a run. 3 unanswered rounds for the boys in yellow. You gotta love to see it. Especially shown from those 3 people in Camp Hyper. The Colony of Gamers are still able to rise up and take that round.
I feel it's going to bring ourselves to around 11. I wouldn't say guaranteed just yet, but it is looking to go the distance. I'm still trying to rattle my brain how you are that accurate with an SMG to pick a head off a stair glitch. Does not make sense, but I'll tell you what does make sense. Again, another default plant. Quick read from Cam to realize all is safe. Bomb's going to go down. And once again, we're going to have another battle over to that A side. This time, Atlantis is the one to anchor it down. But Diz trying to draw some attention away.
Yeah. And a little bit of an overextension from Atlantis so far for this round by not 1 but 2 of their players. A mistake that they will be made to pay for, but not for very long because Cam will do it. Wasn't able to do it last round, but he does it today. But it makes me want to wash my hands after seeing that, because that was filthy play from Cam finding one in the second. Said it once and I'll say it again. This man means business. Not letting that round slip away from his hands.
If I didn't have a camera on right now, like you can't physically see me, but I know my stream can, that my shirt would be off, chucking it to the floor, and I'm replacing it. Jesus, is bad. What is Cam made of 3-piece to his name, able to literally give the site advantage to Colony of Gamers and take the win? That's unreal. Now the trade comes in. Now the force back from the Colony of Gamers as they start to take this advantage. Unsuccessful to go down, and Cam is left again to do God's work.
Yeah, brute force down the objective. Atlantis Esports will do. They'll win it, but not for long. We didn't get to see it for the second there, but Penguin, lovely job at it. In and out, 2-piece over on A. Will leave him right back where Atlantis is in the round, scoring one and the second just like that. Beautiful job done by him specifically, not being too phased by what had happened last round. I mean, all the boys over at Colony not showing, not buckling at the sights of Cam, but still taking care of business and doing it well. 4-4 Hyper. I think your predictions are so far living up to those expectations.
Hey, I'm the top 265th person in a game of CDL pick'ems. Of course my predictions are good. Nonetheless, first kill will go in favor of Atlantis. His attacking side is just working for both teams. rotation to put the bomb down to try and keep all 3 players north. It's gonna go well as this keeps that distraction going.
2v3 situation. Penguin still alive. Not someone you want to see still alive on your screen. Neither is Cam. We know what this man is capable of. The bomb plant will go down. A free one at that. All out. Over to B. And there he is. There's Cam. Put in the work. Finding one. Excuse me, that was Dustin. But Cam starts to snip out a flank. And he's able to find it. 2v1 situation now. But it's Big Penguin. Coming up with a big clutch, hopefully soon. At 7.5 to defuse. He's got some time to do it, but time is ticking, and he can hear it as well. The diving board. Whoa, that's a little cheeky there, but still, despite his shimmy, despite his ninja skills there, sort of, he's not diving board, not he's still visible. He's still sniffed out by Dustin. This is what I love to see at Hyper. I mean, you love to see Dustin not so much depending on Cam to get the final kill. He'll go out, he'll sniff out the last guy, he'll pull his weight as well. And that's a well-oiled Atlantis round win.
It really is a well-oiled Atlantis, and the thing is can you win this defensive side? If Colony of Gamers play safe, go A, fast plant, do everything by the book, we could be seeing a round 11 coming forward. But right now, they're not. They're playing that risk. They want to go B, and it's been read like a book. Atlantis put all their players north, and that just mind game has to reshuffle the Colony of Gamers to go south. And what you've done is allowed the entirety of Atlantis to get up and close. And this is the trouble. They're in your spawns, they're in your position. And Dustin around the corner will find that kill as well. Atlantis wanting to finish it here.
Dustin playing Exterminator, completely wiping out Colony of Gamers from that top control spokes, picking up that energy as well and finding Slang Garwig, the last alive in a dream 1v3 situation. There it is for you. The world is watching, so is folks from behind. That's all she wrote.
When you're being stared down by the devil himself, Spoke stabs him with bullets into the back. There's nothing you can do. What a battle that was. Swung a bit back and forth, but eventually Atlantis just found, first of all, their B presence is unreal. 2 attacking wins that went to B. On top of that, able to freak out Colony of Gamers by putting the whole team up north, forcing them south, but quickly sending a few people of their own to go and defend that A site. It is beautiful to see.
Yeah, what a beautiful read from Colony, from Atlantis Esports there, and doing a great job of countering onto B. I mean, my goodness gracious. I don't know how they're able to do it, especially when you're at map point. You'd almost expect the other team to go A. And I think that's sort of the thought process. I think that's sort of the thought process that the gamers were thinking. Okay, they're probably gonna think we're gonna go A and play it as conservative as possible. They did, and neither did Atlantis. So it's sort of like that Spider-Man meme, right? Where they're all just kind of standing around pointing at each other like, wait a minute, you're here? I'm here? We're all here right now looking at each other and looking at our aim as is held tightly in hand. And unfortunately, the first to shoot and the first to shoot will be Atlantis. And the last to end it will also be Atlantis for map number 2. And map number 3, it's going to be a vault again, but this time on control. But all of that energy that was built up from the gamers, I'm not exactly sure if it can translate here into map number 3, especially after Cam and Dustin's just absolute disgusting plays.
It's going to be very interesting to see, but yeah, Cam and Dustin just showing what they're made of on the Atlantis side. You know, Cam getting that 3-piece that has to be clipped, and I'm sitting here with Tricky down below. Yo, if you're not clipping this and putting it in your show reel, I'm questioning what you're doing, man. You gotta be using that somewhere. On top of that, of course, we can't not talk about Big Penguin. Not the best performance, but I tell you what, he stepped up. He did step up where he needed to. Definitely shone the spotlight for his team, and in a way, kind of I don't know if he is the IGL, but he definitely brought spirit amongst the game to keep his team going to that bittersweet end.
Until eventually, like you said earlier, was stonewalled by Cam, especially with that clutch. I think that honestly dwindled a lot of that comeback from happening. It really put a like, oh, okay, sort of feeling, instilling in all of the calm. I'm sure they were dead silent after that round ended because again, my good grief, that was a disgusting play nonetheless, and one that we'll all be reflecting on for a very, very long time. But right now, at least for the players, is not the time to reflect. It's the time to take this next map on Vault like a fresh new page, like a fresh new chapter. No more stressing out and seeing what you did wrong, beating yourself up over it. You got one map left to prove yourself worthy of not being a victim of a sweep, and you gotta exercise it now. You gotta force that red card hard point for the sake of just keeping the series alive, and also for the sake of Hyper and I's enjoyment. Honestly, we don't really see enough hard point red cards.
I do enjoy myself a good little hardpoint red card. Controversial, but I do enjoy it, and I think it is perfectly made. But that is a up to debate question. As a control, 100% keep it off the table. But for a hardpoint and an S&D, bring it on. Bring on more. We want more. And I tell you what, you guys want more action. And you can see on your screen, 10 seconds till we get into this game, assuming no lobby troubles. But here we go. Let's get it going. Off to the races. These fine gentlemen go.
You got 3 rounds to prove yourself, Colony, of where you stand in the series right now. Atlantis, you got 3 more to put this thing to rest once and for all. You got offense for Atlantis, defense for Colony. And here we go. Like you said earlier, Hype, that B immediately is going to be pressured on from Atlantis, but at the end of the day, they'll be falling as Diz finds one to keep that rotation going. It's only a matter of time before he gets taken out of the top. It's a complete bloodbath, Hyper. Surprised not enough people are allocating over to A. But you can tell in the bottom left corner, Dustin was thinking about it. Yeah, he was in top cat. Once he got the go-ahead from the comms, he jumps right on it.
Yeah, it's all about trying to get that diversion going north. That's what Atlantis did. Unfortunately, the speed of which Colony have been able to quickly rotate over to that A is phenomenal. And they've not made this A take any easier for them. They're still getting good progression, keeping that clock stopped for a good amount of time until I started speaking and 3 goes off and Colony now can start opening up the blender and feeding the blood of Atlantis and stirring it up into a little mess.
Great counter by Colony, just completely denying Atlantis that momentum that they had established from, like you said, diverging a lot of that attention on that west side over to that A point. Now Gunny, though, from behind will catch another Atlantis guy just kind of lurking around there. This is where I start to see Hyper. Those spawn traps get incredibly concerning if you're on that offensive side, because if you're Gunny, you just step back 2 players. Any progress that they should have made is making this timer on your screen stop. 14 to 20 in the lives. Penguin himself playing his life eventually will get put to west. So that's Dustin and Cam on a 2-piece. Dustin make that a 3rd. So now A is going to stop for quite some time. 13 to 17 in the live, and this could be very well an A cap, Hyper.
It could, but still too early to say. Big Penguin from the top, trying to deny it. 9.7 left in the clock. The progression still going through, but a sea of yellow is starting to come in. More and more bodies chucked onto point. 7 seconds to go. An extra minute on the clock, and somehow Atlantis also able to bring the lives back, and a little break has given Atlantis a breath of fresh air. But 7 of Gunny spawns once again, and I don't think any of the players will see the spawn trap coming in once again.
Yeah, it's coming in, and it's coming in hot. I mean, from a point of equal lives, now we start to see Atlantis being just under 4 against Colony. Harwick trying to find one. Pig finds the second, and just like that, Cam, the last alive, 1v10 for him, and he's not able to do much. Colony of Gamers parading on through with a round 1 win.
Fantastic work. Fantastic work from Colony of Gamers, keeping that pressure going, making sure that there wasn't much room for Atlantis to breathe. Yes, you could critique and say, okay, they gave away that A point after keeping them in their spawns for majority of the game. I I feel this is over all too easily. We saw that Atlantis was able to draw a lot of Colony's players up north to focus on the B. But as I mentioned, Colony are quick, they're mobile, they're nimble. It's a matter of time before they quickly get back into their spawns.
Now the flip side, Colony of Gamers on the defensive side, right? Arguably, it is a lot easier to do that. Play on defense and offense. So now we'll see them try to replicate the same energy here.
In deep, able to find one of the players, but gives him a little bit of freedom, a little bit of room. But still going through for Colony of Gamers. Will deny that final tick. Not enough to reset Atlantis. Still got a lot of work to do here.
New Hillard still at A. Colony of Gamers doing a fantastic job of taking it early on. This time around, Hyper. Last time we saw the boys in yellow, it was defending A, and Atlantis had to like rip it from them at the last possible second. Now, early round, plenty of lives to give, plenty of time to play. Colony's in an incredibly comfortable position right now. Big Penguin's well aware of this as well.
Just trades back and forth, and right now, Atlantis, they have that art control, but he needs to be careful of Gunny. He's been a lurker throughout this game, finds his way into the back of art, and here comes the a little bit trigger discipline, see what else he can pick up. Control is his for now, but he knows danger lurks around him, so decides to back away.
Yeah, it's a possible strategy. Wait for the best possible moment to pounce, and that was it right there. Trying to get 50, because otherwise he would have sought him out, and boom, back to the respawn screens he goes, and immediately from Dustin, 3 more kills will go through from Atlantis. Colony of Gamers sent back to that respawn screen, all 4. Denying any more pushes, folks finding 1 from mid. The second will go over to Cam. Can he find the 3rd for his team? No. Colony will chill out for a second there, as Gunny will be the Penguin, will be the one who gives the final blow. And 14-6. Now we've seen this round flip over to the side of Atlantis.
A deep breath from Colony. They know right now they have the defensive side on block. They have the tick advantage. 3, while Atlantis didn't even get 1. It's not the hardest L they'll take of 2 lives remaining. They're going to take this L with knowing that the late game is where they're going to thrive. But in terms of the scoreline, all tied up.
Yeah, Atlantis reestablishing the fact that it is usually a lot easier to play defense than offense. So, but it wasn't as heavily sided, I feel like, in the offensive or in the defensive favor as Colony of Gamers. We weren't seeing those spawn traps employed at all as Atlantis was. So, it's gonna be a question for sure that has to be answered, whether or not if they're capable of really employing those spawn traps and really getting down, down and ugly and in the face of Colony and tying the knot a lot earlier, or a lot sooner than leaving it to an A cap and then eventually sort of slowly depleting the lives for the push over to B. But a new round, 1-1, and again, Colony of Gamers left something to prove here on the defensive side.
That opening kill is huge. Oh, but it was just taken away. I was about to make a point how Diz was the game changer here. We saw the whole Colony games go north, but then it was just Gunny takes out 2 from Atlantis, and all that hard work again ripped away. It always seems that when Atlantis makes this beautiful rotation, it's read quickly by Colony, and once again, let the spawn traps begin.
Look at Gunny. He's just being a menace right now, just lurking into those spawns, left, right, center, like a little gremlin. He finds one again, goes completely unnoticed until eventually the call out does travel through. Cam puts him to rest, but again, Hyper, not before that inconvenience happens. I mean, Colony of Gamers have been outgunned for the first 2 maps up until this point, and I'll tell you why they haven't been. They know spawns, they know mechanics a lot better than Atlantis does, and they're able to get right to those spawns and force those spawn traps to happen to a point where A is completely vacated. You got 20 seconds to go. 3 kills in the feed for Colony. 1 more left. It's Spokes being stubborn enough not to die, but without any help from his teammates, it might just be a round win again for Colony.
7 seconds, got to put a foot on point, but I don't think it will happen. And you're right in saying, Scav, it really is their map because they know how to run these spawns. And at this rate, again, Colony have tick advantage, and they will for certain have defense here.
2-1. So Atlantis is going to be left with that defensive side again. You got 7 seconds left here to talk it out with your team. This is not a good position you want to be in, especially because all that momentum you built up, you want it to lead to that sweep, that glorious sweep. You can turn off the consoles early, but Colony of Gamers have arisen something of themselves within them, and it's all boiled down to this. And check this out, Hyper. All of them going for the B strat. This time, it's not going to be read by Atlantis. It was in search, but not in control. Now the trades will go through. The B setup looking like a piece of cake, as nobody will contest up until this specific point. And when they do, Hyper, when they do, it's denied. 2 ticks already for B.
2 ticks, and now they've got the reinforcements to come in once again to try and push one more time, and that's what they're going to try and do. One last push, one last opportunity. No one takes B, and they've done it off the get-go as well. That is huge in terms of strategical point. And look at this, the game clock has stopped at 2 minutes 17. They're going for A. They're going to finish it right here and right now.
They're going for broke right now, Hyper, but finally they're slowed down. A breath of fresh air from what seemed to be like Atlantis drowning themselves. I mean, you got Slang, Gunny, all of them popping off right now and giving them the business. And it's paid off. Hard work has paid off. They got 2 minutes, Hyper, to work with this A point that nearly hasn't full tick. And if I were Atlantis, I'd go erase it, but they can't. They can't move around. They're getting stretched way too thin right now from Colony.
Yeah, they are being... There's nothing they could do. Absolutely nothing. Maybe Cam can find 1 or 2, but it's just slow progression at this point that Colony needs to focus on. Make sure they continue with map control. Make sure they have every ounce of surrounding as theirs. They've lost a little bit for now.
So much.
It's going to allow Cam to push into the back. Not going to happen. Spawn traps are not working if you are Atlantis. But they are going to try to clear away that final tick.
Yeah, they are. They're not working because you got Penguin who's denying them completely. Cam a little more quiet this time around. Not able to do much with what's been given to him. And a Colony of Gamer, again, oh my god, it's just so beautiful how they're playing right now. I mean, they're not being overly aggressive. They got so much time to work with. But Atlantis is starting to slowly make that comeback possible. 11 to 10 in the lives. Make it 9. Slang capitalizing on that trade. And the second one, this is huge. If Slang can get it, but he's not able to, Garwig picks up the trade nonetheless. And now the single tick remains onto A. That's all they have left.
Still a minute to go. 7 lives in the favor of Colony. And then it slowly goes away.
Oh my gosh.
No, the advantage has disappeared. 5v5. It's even done and dusted.
Different
Colony.
team. Different team.
Oh yeah. Like they came alive. Where's the light switch? Like I could turn it on and off in my room really easily, but I tell you, that switch feels impossible. The Colony's done it. They found it and they switched it.
I know. And it was fantastic as well. We can guess what map. You know, I would drop dead and start laughing my butt off if I knew who chose this map and it was Atlantis. I'll tell you that much, because this was nothing short of utter perfection to the very T from Colony. We were saying about before the break even started, before the map even started, it was going to be the spawn traps at the end of the day that would be the most important thing to look out for. But Atlantis couldn't do it, and the gamers could. And so as a result, that is what you're going to see play out in front of you. You're going to see mechanics dominate kills every which way, every single darn time. And for this map, unfortunately, Cam was a little more quiet this time around, Hyper, but I'll tell you who wasn't. Penguin and Slang were dominating. We didn't get to see enough of Slang, but when we did, he was he was either getting a kill or getting killed and having his teammates trade him.
Oh yeah, and that's something that that we did see from Colony. Quick trades, as I said, quick rotations, getting themselves into that more powerful position, have that map control, and it's just the repetition from us, but also from them. They just kept showing it. So why else would we not point it out? But I tell you what, we should point out. We're gonna grab a very short break while you guys grab a quick drink because we're going to map 4, and you need to be refreshed.
Heavens to Megatron, the other.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going the distance. Well, not the full distance. The 4th map, we're going to be heading to red card. If you just joined, this is Colony of Gamers versus Atlantis Esports, where Colony of Gamers are starting their progression for the reverse sweep, but they have to win red card to make that happen. It's 2-1, and I tell you what, Scav, honestly, this really could go the distance.
Well, they got to win red card to get that to happen. In order to win red card, they got to start the game. So unfortunately, we got a little bit of a technical difficulty for that. But the beautiful soccer stadium that makes red card is for the taking for either team. One loss from Colony Gamers in the hard point will force them to go home. So Atlantis Esports has one more loss to give in the series. They're up 2-1. And judging from the last map we saw, it was a Colony of Gamers win on control on Vault, and it was an explosive win at that. I mean, from what we saw, the last 2 maps played by Atlantis were both exclamation points, right? But at least from the last map we saw from Vault, from the Gamers, from the Colony of Gamers, it was more than just a statement. It was a scream and shout that we will be staying in this series. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, like, scoreline doesn't give a good reflection to how that map went. 3-2 shows a more close battle. Everyone was good on beds, but the thing is, Colony of Gamers were just obliterating the likes of Atlantis because they were able to get inside spawns. They were able to send their players deep into that backside and catching them off. But when it came to an attack, it almost felt like a different story. It almost felt like a legitimate battle between both teams. We were seeing Atlantis put up that fight, able to fend off a lot of the colonies, but there were still gaps that allowed those ticks to go through. So it was very much control where defense always wins. But I ain't opposed to that.
No, I'm not either. I mean, it also, again, like we said earlier, is just map knowledge. I mean, Colony had an impeccable map knowledge on Vault, and as a result, Atlantis didn't. And what we saw next was, well, they got spawn trapped. And if that's the case here, that we go into this red card hard point, then unfortunately for Atlantis, they're in for yet another rude awakening. But if there's only one way left to tell, and that's from playing the darn game, Hyper. Here we go, off to the races. P1 right in the middle of the map. There's absolutely no cover for you on the hill. So if you're Jackal player, you got to depend on those Amezes. And here we go. First picks now.
Slang getting first, Slang getting second, and Slang getting taken out. Bruv, that's peak, man. You're welcome. British Slang 101. Learn it. But it's going to be immediate control for the Colony of Gamers, and in doing so, they've got to be careful not to over-aggress here, because they will give up Promenade, which is the bottom right side of control, which is where P2 also is situated.
Yeah, bodies are dropping here, Hyper, but this is none to our surprise so far for a hard one, especially on red card. There's no cover anywhere, but you know, just Colony of Gamers even being able to get up to 13 seconds alone is impressive. And here we go. Here's Cam 2-0 to start things off on this map, holding that Amos tightly in hand. We'll find one assist from Dizzy, and New Point has opened up. That's P2. Slang anchoring on that objective. He popped off last game on that control. He's got that Jackal in hand. He's ready for the onslaught of red that's about to invade on the objective. Colony of Gamers Hyper has spawns in their favor as well. So if Atlantis Esports wants to keep holding this point, they got to flip them.
You got to flip them. Or, alternatively, you can keep the pressure as it is and keep throwing bodies on, which is exactly what they're going to do. Diz able to find one through the nets. Can't find a second against Gunny, but a little trade from afar will massively help. Cam with a 6-3 right now. Absolutely frying, and I feel we said his name too many times. As Dustin still claiming all these points here and getting the score to go in their favor.
Yeah. 4 seconds of scraps here. Now none. No time is good time, I guess you could say, as Gunny sniffs out the last alive. This time, though, P3. Atlantis has the hill in their objective to their favor, as Gunny finding one out from that little corner there, top of trash bin. Beautiful sight, but he gets traded out. That's 3 off, Hyper, for Colony. As Salang, the last alive, is stubborn enough to get 1, and technically Dustin being the second. So now that should have been enough time for Colony to reinforce this objective and take that hill right back.
Should have been, but at this point in time, they're still hesitant. They know the entirety of Atlantis is just situated on the outside, but they should throw bodies in. Colony has spawns here. They shouldn't be hesitating, but a lot of dead time's going to come through. But it's not uncommon. Red Card has been one of the only maps, to my casting knowledge, that has been won by the game clock. So it's early to say, like, we start off the game with 5 minutes, we're down to 3 minutes 46. Like, not much has gone, and I'm not worried yet. But look at the time, just tick away again, more dead time. It's gonna go down to this game clock, and right now, Colony will be happy with this lead.
That 1v1 between Penguin is huge. That established control on the objective, and you see Sling. Yes, well, he'll get that trade as well, but Spokes will catch out Gunny and deny that reinforcement to go through. Sling finding 1 again, just completely frying on the point, but finally Cam will sniff him out. A couple of shots here and there from Spokes, trying to maintain P1 control. He's not able to do much. As now the contest goes through. Yeah, Hyper, like I said earlier, no time is good time, but Cam wants all the time as he finds a headshot. Spokes compliments him nicely with that. And again, we see Atlantis winning scraps to their name as Penguin last alive, trying to hop on in, take those last 10 seconds, because they can add up to a lot if this game stays as close as it is.
It really is, and Atlantis, they do have good control. They can get onto that point, they can lock it down. The problem is Colony are finding ways to step on, allow that game clock to run down, and in doing so, not giving Atlantis these points, and these critical points over on that P3, P2, and the P4. All 3 of those points have been Atlantis control, but has been Colony's contest throughout.
Red in the feed for a little bit, and red on the board as well is a recipe for success if you're Atlantis. And now Colony is starting to, like an ant colony or a colony of bees themselves, surround the objective, but not much is gonna pay off at the end of the day. Atlantis, like beekeepers, putting Colony in their place as the last few seconds of scraps. Yes, will go to their name, but a very great hold on the hill nonetheless. And now we see the rotation start to move on over to the next point. This time, though, going to be primarily dominated by Atlantis. A couple of chips here and there, a tit for tat at the end of the day. It's still going to be open, though, for the taking. That's P1. And the same bloodbath that we saw at the beginning of this map, we're probably going to see it again, Hyper.
100%. This site is so open. It allows for opportunities to get those fights around the outside. And in doing so, Atlantis finally takes the lead of this match. 2 minutes 50. And I'm gonna keep referencing this game clock because it's going down so quickly, and we're on first rotation. Half the time has gone, and none of the teams have hit 100. Well, they just hit 100 right now. I'm getting worried here, but I tell you who's more worried. Atlantis, 3 off.
Yep, stringing a 3-piece together is what you want to see. Big Penguin, that's on a 3 spree. Someone you want to look out for if you're Atlantis for the rest of this map, because he's certainly feeling himself. Gunny finding 1. Dustin trying to catch him off rotation. But I'll tell you what, his rotation's going to keep on going. He survives through that. P2 hill has opened up now, still in the favor of Colony, but Tootsies were out, Hyper, and you can't have the Tootsies out because Atlantis will take complete advantage of that. 1 will fall from Colony, leading to 3 more as well. Now Atlantis, your time to come back, keep that lead in your favor, but they're not able to do it. A trophy will get placed, 1 will get destroyed, another one will come on through. But this time, Hyper, when we move on over to P2, Atlantis has spawns, unlike last time we had Colony with their spawns in their hand.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit harder to break it out, but even with Diz, he can be a playmaker at times, but let's be real, when there's 2 people looking at you, it's a little difficult to make that break. But you can see already Atlantis going, you know what? Okay, take it. Take it away. We're going to look to P3. We're looking to try and flip these spawns early on and gain that control. But it's going to be a 1v3 battle. So now what you do, Spokes, you've got to be perfect here. And that's not perfect. It's going to be control once again for Colony of Gamers.
That control once again for them, and that's not something you really want to see opening up into the hill. Slang and Gunny, you know, kicking things off out of the P3. No hill time again, Hyper, like you said. You didn't lie when you said it was going to happen, and Colony of Gamers will keep on raiding through on the board as well, just increasing that lead. They got this point on lockdown. Slang denying that flank from Cam, but Diz will find one in the process, not letting Cam's death go in vain. Penguin with a two-piece as well, though, denying the pinch from going through. Eventually, though, Cam will put him to rest from the respawn. Now with 20 seconds left, Sling's going to try his heart out at, you know, causing some disruption, fighting for those scraps, but he's not able to lay much other than a finger on those scraps. Atlantis protecting it with their life, and now Colony's turn to shrug their shoulders and move on over to the next point.
Both teams spawn to that left side, and now it's going to be Colony who confirmed their horrible positioning from the previous point. So Atlantis able to get those first 5-10 seconds before real pressure starts to come in, and that's what they critically need if they can overtake. Right now, the goal for both sides is to overtake each other, have the lead just in case we have to focus on that game clock to the bittersweet end. But the break comes in, and it's always a difficult site to break because of that understage. Well, you got Gunny putting up a 4-piece to help with that.
Yeah, and the reason why they call this stage a money hill, because all you got to do is just play like Slang and just kind of sit there with your Jackal and pray to God that you don't get double shot at the same time. And it's a recipe for success. And Colony right now, Hyper, is laying it out right now for Atlantis and not even allowing them to get any more seconds of hill time, even if it means scraps on this new point. But at the end of the day, a lot of people from Colony were hovering over the point, and that's going to lead to a fantastic advantage for a new setup on the hill. But unlucky for this one, it's not a money hill. It's a lot harder to hold, as Gunny very much so making it apparent with the trade that goes through. 47 seconds left and counting. And that's all she wrote. Cam hitting on the objective. He'll try to acre himself as long as he possibly can.
I'll tell you what, Atlantis did a good job on the previous, gaining a lot of points, and now in doing so, push that deficit to only 20 points, and they're back on for another push. But it's gonna be Colony of Gamers coming in for the break. Can they keep in place? And here comes the force of yellow as they keep that lead above 20, right where they need it. 20-point gap, they hit the 200, and now Atlantis has got the fear in them.
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, in the map 1, Atlantis was doing the very same thing, but on the flip side. They had over 200 points while Colony was struggling to break 200 themselves. And now we see a change of pace, a change of heart, and a change of gameplay. 3 off, though. Immediately, call to action was answered by Atlantis. Make it 4. Cam with a cherry on top, 32 and 18. You'll love to see it. And now P1 has opened up, though. This one still not anywhere close to a money hill, but Diz will try his hard at making it look like one as he finds one. Cam finding 2 yet again. And now Hyper, Atlantis treading ever so closely to cutting that lead in half that Colony fought so hard to keep.
Brilliant. A split spawn did not help. They were able to pick off the one that was closest to the car park, and in doing so, they forced that spawn flip, and it helped them dearly. But once again, just the bittersweet end. Colony of Gamers able to flip the spawn and take control, and this is always huge. This is how they've kept their lead so far. But they go to the next point, and guess who's on it? Rotation has always been won by Atlantis. But Colony breaks at the last second. But the gap is a lot smaller once again. Garwing able to find 2. And is this an early break this time for the Colony of Gamers? A contest comes in. They know they can play clock as well. 1 minute 6 on the game clock, and less than 50 for the Colony of Gamers to win.
This is Colony of Gamers time to put their foot down, Hyper. They've had enough. Atlantis is just chipping away here and there on the points, and now they've gotten a retake in their hands. By the end of this point, Hyper will have the lead in their hand, and they very much so can win it on the next point. It's going to boil down to the next hard point, P3, ladies and gents. So on the edge of our seats we will be, as things are going to take a turn. Colony of Gamers, they have something to prove here, Hyper. They'll send it to map 5 if they win it here. But Atlantis has spawns in their favor for the next point. And Dustin, hello, he says to Colony as he finds one and the second. Wow, cooking us up something great on the grill as he keeps on frying Colony and just allowing enough time for Atlantis to come right back and take his place.
Atlantis there for the reinforcements, quickly puts their bodies onto it. 47 seconds left on the clock, and it's only 2-point difference. Now it slowly increases. The Colony gets on point. The rush will start to come in if you are Atlantis. They've got to contest and they've got to get back on point, and they have. Dustin now alive to find 2. Dodges out of the way for 3rd, but he will keep it alive. The lead is about to change once again. It's in Atlantis' favor. 41 seconds left on the game clock. Only 12. 10 now
They can win it
for
here.
Atlantis to get it done. 17 if you're Colony. Colony takes control. They can only claim 7, so you can see 4 of Dustin
They can't win it here.
rotating across. 5 seconds is all
Atlantis
it's
is
needed.
gonna win.
Look at that break. It's done, and Dustin, the series gone to Atlantis.
Atlantis wins it right there and wins it in fashion. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, they can close things out. What a fantastic job at doing it, Dustin, the MVP. For goodness sake, finding 1, 2, and 3 onto that P3. Allowing enough time for those reinforcements to go through, and when they went through, Hyper, I'll tell you what, they did not miss. Penguin might have gotten the play of the game, Hyper, but I'll tell you what, that play from Dustin was the deciding factor of not only the map, but the rest of this series. To the point where Colony was put in their own little corner, fend for themselves, arms tied behind their back. They couldn't let the last few seconds of scraps go to Atlantis, but at the same time, Atlantis knew that, rotated on over to P4, and just waited, smiles on their faces, as all they had to do was put 2 foot on for 2 seconds and win the series.
It wasn't even just for that P4 onto the stage. P3 as well. Dustin, holy mackerel, was able to fend off 3 of the Colony side, keep them pushed away just long enough to allow the reinforcements to come in. Spawns not favoring them at all. And somehow this miraculous squad was able to take that lead, and it was just pure bloodbath at that point in time. When both teams are at 230, both teams in the 200, that strategy just, out. Not here at all. It is gone and done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about that, Hyper. That was, again, at the end of the day, a fantastic representation of Atlantis, showing to the crowd, showing to the viewers at home. It's not about those early picks. It's not about getting all the kills and racking them in and putting on the show. It's about playing until the bittersweet end, as you usually say, playing to the final whistle. And I know, like you said earlier, Hyper, it wasn't specifically that P3 or that P4. But what I will say, what I will,
I'm still going. I'm sorry. I'm still talking here. Hold up. Wait a minute, Scav. You got be patient. Be patient, man.
what?
Why is it repeating? I already did that. I didn't do it twice. Oh my god.
All right. You know what? This is it. I'm gonna pull us together here, Hyper. There are tears going down my face right now as I stare, not only with sympathy to the side of Colony of Gamers for not being able to get this done, but also in what I think is a very funny thing that I will use against you for the rest of our casting careers. But nonetheless, again, at the end of the day, it's going to be a win for Atlantis, although a very hard-fought victory for the side of Colony. I mean, you can't get any more grit than that. They knew their spawns. They took what was given to them, and they just almost got to that map 5. It was on the horizon, but unfortunately, the sun has set, the moon comes out, and Atlantis will parade on through with their elite league or their elite match in the ZGL on the mainstream. So with that being said, ladies and gents, not exactly sure if we're going to be doing an interview with any of the players. Kind of waiting on a confirmation with that, if we are or
No.
not.
Doesn't
But
look like it.
yep, okay. So I'm gonna be doing an interview with the players, so that is where we will end the stream for here. We appreciate you, all the viewers at home, for tuning in. It means so much to the support, not only for the players at home, who I'm sure are excited to go back and watch this VOD, but also to the production crew. Shout out Tricky.com, specifically the full name right there, for producing for today's match, putting up with Hyper and I shenanigans on and off the stream. And shout out to Hyper for being a fantastic co-commentator as we hit this this double header for ZGL. Both fantastic games to see. So again, we appreciate you all. We appreciate the viewership, and we'll see you all very, very soon.